Bonus. 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 Bonus.
What's up? We're back, baby. Franchisees, we're back. Ow. Let's fucking go. Here we go. Ow. Yeah. All right. Great.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's the energy we're bringing into 2025. It's the end of the year special.
That's literally what you do every time you drink a Coke
What
Zero.
the hell?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
This is a special treat. So there's no sugar in it, which is in keeping with my sugar-free lifestyle.
No sugar, no calories, but a modicum of caffeine. Enough caffeine to get a non-coffee drinker like me going.
Right. And me, I've already had 2 or 3 coffees today, but I just need a little extra bump.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Well, guess what? Bonus. It's a bonus episode.
Everyone's favorite.
Everyone's favorite. Get excited. This is why we're doing this. We're coming back. We recorded. By the time you're listening to this, you haven't even heard the past recording we've recorded.
Yeah, it's like you've been in cryo sleep.
Yeah. It is. It's not unlike being in cryo sleep.
Peacefully ignorant to the madness that's been going on with this steady stream of releases, not knowing we've been in hell.
and this is James. You are James Franco now being fried. to death.
That's it. Yeah.
Mm.
And you're Danny McBride,
good.
really sad about your wife dying.
Oh, my wife. That's not how he sounds. You did a good one.
Oh, my wife. She had big, beautiful tits.
Yeah. There you go. Kenny Powers.
Danny McBride mourning his wife.
Well, yes, you haven't even heard the next franchise we're doing, and Alex and I, we had we went on we both sort of
went on
vacations.
a cinema bender.
We went on a cinema bender, and I had a vacation with my family where I did also watch a lot of movies, not so much with my family, but at night after when everyone went to bed, right? Because they turned down early, and I
like some sort of Nightcrawler.
Well, a little bit, yeah. I watched Nightcrawler
Jake Gyllenhaal
for 8 nights in a row. Yeah. So we'll talk about
Nightcrawler.
This episode is called "What I Watched on My Summer Vacation."
This is a big movie roundup. This
movie roundup. Is so big that we are doing a whole BONSU bonus episode separate from Alien Romulus,
or else it would be 6 hours long.
It would just be too long. It would simply be too long, and I'm going to try to keep this relatively short. I promise.
This is like the cattle drive they undertake in Lonesome Dove.
Yes.
The book.
I have not seen that or read that.
Okay.
But I'm aware of it.
It's pretty good.
And that's really
I've
what
only
being a
read the
cinephile
book.
is all about.
Yeah, just having a vague opinion based on
you just
nothing.
have to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for example, we're going to talk about Jacques Rivette a little bit coming up. And up until recently, I was aware of him. I would say very aware of him. I had read some of his criticism. I knew a bunch of the titles of his movies, but I hadn't actually seen any, And what I'm trying to tell you is, young budding cinephiles, if you're listening to this in the future, when this is in the presidential archives, President Harris's podcast archives, you don't have to worry about having seen everything. You just have to be ambiently aware of everything enough to hold a conversation, right? But at some point you really do have to kind of dive in, because you can only skate by on being like, oh yeah, Celine and Julie go boating. Yeah, of course, I'm aware of that. But eventually someone's going to hold your feet to the fire and you got to come up with some answers.
But
right?
You still don't need to form your own opinions. You just need to vaguely echo Ben's.
Sir, yeah. And of course my opinions are nothing but ripples and echoes of other people's opinions. It really is the great cinematic critical tradition, So.
All art is.
Yes, yeah. They don't build statues of critics. Charlie XCX once wore on a T-shirt, followed by Katy Perry wearing it on a T-shirt, which is very funny.
That is very funny.
And to that I say they are wrong. They have built many statues of critics, But that's besides the point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. Why don't we go tit for tat, quid pro quo, and then invariably I'm going to run out before you do.
Okay, great. Well, I'll start.
Sure.
Fuck off. All right. I watched a lot of movies. Listen, and I had some vacation days. All right. Don't judge me. you're listening to this, you know me, you know who I am. I have to, I bought at the intermission of the 4-hour movie I went to see today. I bought 7 packets of Tums because they were on sale at the Shoppers.
The second
you know who
over 3-hour film you saw today.
Yeah, I'm not trying to fool anybody. All right. I watched Paint Your Wagon, which is a movie I only knew from The Simpsons joke.
Yeah.
The Simpsons joke is much better than the movie.
Okay.
The movie, I would say, is not great, but I watched it on a lovingly restored 4K ultra high definition disc. Clint Eastwood singing, it's beautiful. Lee Marvin, he's drunk. Gene Seberg, it's definitely one of those movie musicals that movie musical kids would have watched. Is it a good one of those? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think you need to watch that. And then after that, I watched this, or just a real howler of a bad movie, Neil Jordan's In Dreams from 1999, which Neil Jordan made a lot of great movies. Interview with the Vampire, Company of Wolves, Crying Game, etc., etc. But God, he's made some bad movies, and this movie is just it's just a total ridiculous thriller about Annette Bening who through her dreams can see through the eyes of a serial killer who turns out to be Robert Downey Jr., who's terrible in the movie. And the movie is 2 hours of Annette Bening screaming and freaking out, and it's so funny. As is often a trend I say on Letterboxd these days, I used to really love doing ketamine and watching movies like this, movies that Fulci movies or really any Italian movie with the lip flap is great, but just movies that have a sort of very slippery sense of time and space.
Sure.
This movie, stone cold sober, I'm like, what is going on? What are we doing here? And those types of movies are so perfect for that specific drug. And I really wish but now I don't even need to do it. I just because I watch so many movies under the influence of the greatest drug in the world. It's not like a flashback or whatever, but I can just enter that state.
You can disassociate at will now.
Whenever I want.
That's beautiful.
And In Dreams is a great movie to do that too.
Noted. I'm also kicking things off with a bit of a musical dud. I watched Hate to Love, Nickelback, the Nickelback documentary. Why? Why would I watch In Dreams?
Why would I watch In Dreams? Because I wanted to tap into the deep vein of ketamine cinema.
You and me both.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. Nickelback is
Look
a real
at this
ketamine
photograph
band.
Yeah.
Disappointing on all levels. Very surface level. Felt like a VH1 behind the music kind of documentary, but not even as salacious as those could be. And didn't also go super in depth on the memedom, on the hating to love Nickelback. You know what I mean? They kind of there was some funny moments about how deeply it affected Chad. Chad was very upset over the internet memedom and backlash.
Is that sort of the focus of the documentary?
No, it's such a small part. It's mostly just here's the story of this band.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. If it delved way deeper into any one topic instead of being basically a cinematic Wikipedia page,
right,
it would have been so much more interesting. They could have just really delved into how hardcore the internet dug on Nickelback.
So it hurt his feelings.
It hurt his feelings, which is quite funny. But overall, pretty disappointing.
Okay. Oh, me? Who, me? Another pretty bad movie, Untraceable from 2008. This is just a real Netflix, it's midnight, just throw it on sort of thing. It's a funny kind of internet, FBI internet thriller, cyber crimes, Basically, it's very nasty for this movie that you would just kind of stumble on in Blockbuster or whatever. I remember it had the youth restricted viewing sticker on the Blockbuster DVD case because it's also a Saw movie, and it's I don't know. I can't talk about all these fucking movies this much. It's terrible. But it's worth seeing if you want to see Colin Hanks get dissolved in a vat of acid.
Yes.
That sounds good, right?
What's it called again?
It's called Untraceable.
If you want to see Colin Hanks dissolved in acid, watch Untraceable.
Do you want to see? Do you want to see Colin Hanks? The gimmick of the movie is like it's like live streams of like saw traps,
Okay.
and the more people that watch, the faster the traps work.
I
you know,
see,
so
yeah.
it's like you're the sickos who are
So Colin Hanks must have been dissolved in seconds.
Yeah,
because a million people would have logged on to see.
Immediately. For a second there, I thought, is the killer Colin Hanks? Because he's acting suspicious. No, he's just kind of an unpleasant guy to look at.
Yeah,
not really. I feel bad for him. You know,
Chet got the good genes.
Well, Chet's become much more famous than Colin. And for good reason. And then I also watched Machine Gun McCain, which is a movie that features John Cassavetes, Peter Falk, and Jenna Rollins, but is not made by them.
Gotcha.
And this is before Jenna Rollins passed away, and I know I kind of mentioned that at the end of the last episode, and I did watch some movies of hers I hadn't seen coming up, which I'll talk about in a bit. She's like in this for like one scene at the end, but it's the best scene of the movie. She like steals the movie. It's like an Italian crime movie. You know, at some point John Cassavetes does fire a machine gun. It's worth watching.
Okay.
It's fun. And what's this? Oh, a bunch of Looney Tunes. And then later that evening, you know, Jordan, Devin, Alex, not you, not Alex. Not either of the Alexes who've been on this podcast, but a third, fourth,
Mystery
fifth Alex. Yeah. Watched two Johnny Toe movies, Election and PTU. Both amazing movies that I had been meaning to see for a long time. Of the two, I think PTU is maybe the one that is kind of like a masterpiece. I mean, they're both incredible. And they should be. We could do Election on the podcast because there is an Election too, and maybe, you know, someday maybe we will, but not for many years because I just watched it.
And Alexander Payne's Election.
Yeah, of course, Election, Alexander Payne, Election, Johnny Toe, Election 2. Much better than the Alexander Payne movie, I think. Although I do like that movie.
I remember liking it. I watched Clueless, which I'd never seen before.
Really?
And I'd never seen it. Very feel-good vibes movie. A lot of fun seeing a bunch of like 90s actors who went on to do a bunch of different things.
Yep.
It was nice to see Brittany Murphy again. R.I.P.
Yep.
And I was kind of surprised, pleasantly surprised by it's got a bit of like a Linklater free-flowing energy, you know?
Oh yeah.
There were moments where I was like, oh, is the whole movie going to be about like setting the teachers up on a date, one of which was Wallace Shawn, which was quite funny.
Right. I remember, yeah.
Is it going to go here? Is it going to go there? It was just kind of very meandering, but in a very pleasant and episodic way. And it makes sense why they made a TV show out of it.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Thumbs up for Clueless.
Clueless is really, really good.
Yeah.
Like that really is the best of the best sort of 90s like teen comedy, I think. I mean, I know there's lots. That's a very broad genre, but...
Yeah. And you know what? It's one that I'm not super familiar with. Like, I haven't seen Can't Hardly Wait or like a lot of these movies people have a lot of reverence for.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I watched Clueless. I liked it.
It's the best one. Well, as I mentioned at the top, Jacques Rivette. Okay, so as part of the epic movie weekend Alex and I have had that we're going to talk about in the main Alien Romulus episode, I was going to see... at the Paradise, La Belle Noiseuse. Noiseuse. I don't really know. They said it a number of times, and I was like, oh yeah, I should remember how to say that for the show. Noiseuse. Dr. Seuss. And I decided I didn't want to just, I don't know, similar to when like a movie based on a really classic book is coming out and you're like, I should read that before I see the movie. You know, if you want to experience both, you know, or have some context or whatever it is.
Sure.
I thought, well, this is enough like fire to put under your ass to like finally watch Celine and Julie Go Boating, which is one of his, probably his most well-loved and well-regarded movie, or at least one of them. And one that I had heard is a really good first film of his to watch. And it's great. I really, really liked it. It's very playful. It's very fun and funny. And, you know, I was talking about on another episode like earlier ago, like I don't get French comedy. But I guess I'm realizing mostly what I meant is like, you know, popular French comedy. Like this is a very funny French movie but it's not like I mean, it's not really a comedy, but anyway, I'm not going to tell you the plot of it necessarily because it's also like it's a very dense movie. There's an element to it without really, I think, spoiling too much. There's an element to it that is similar to Twin Peaks: The Return.
Okay.
You know how Cooper goes back into the Twin Peaks show to like save Laura Palmer, right? Yeah. There's an element to that where like Celine and Julie can, through sucking on this candy, can enter into like a different like narrative that they're like periphery characters in, and they try to save this girl who's like murdered within that narrative because they repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. You know, it's I'm not under any like illusion that David Lynch came up with all of this great stuff all of a sudden in like 2017 with Twin Peaks: The Return. I know, you know, and I also am not even saying this is something that a movie that he likes or watched and took an idea from, but there's something really nice. It's like a very good feeling of like coming across something that reminds you of something that you really love, like in another film, and how that connection can make that film more special for you, you know? And it's funny because that's kind of, I mean, it's not a spoiler, but it does sort of all kind of come together near the end of the movie. And that's when I was like, oh, wow, like this really is like one of the greatest movies ever made, you know? Wow. And after that, well, you know, the next day I saw that Duel, his other film, another one of his films that was on the Criterion Channel, it's one that he made shortly after that was going to be, you know, and there's so many other goddamn movies he made that was going to be part of this like sort of trilogy. And Duel, you know, after struggling to get into Celine and Julie a little bit, but then really like finding my way with it. Duel I found actually quite difficult to get into. Oh. It's similarly like crazy to describe the plot of this movie, and so I won't really. All that is to say, the daughter of the moon battles the daughter of the sun over a magical diamond that will allow the winner to remain on Earth, specifically in modern day Paris. That's a like letterbox description. Right on. So similar to Celine and Julie, like, which has this like super conceptual, like kind of whatever fantastical premise, as does Duel, but with, you know, with very limited like special effects or cinema trickery or this or that. It really is just there's a moment in Duel, and I mean, if you've seen the movie, I think you probably know where everything sort of changes all of a sudden, and it really does feel. Like, you know, you and I talk about how much we hate magic and magicians a lot. Yeah. These movies are like magic. They're like good magic. Like Duel, there's a lot of magic stuff in both of these movies, but like they feel like proper like cinema magic, you know? And I don't think I really like caught it, and I think I need to watch it again to properly kind of get on its wavelength or understand it. I've been reading about it, trying to understand it, but I'm like, I don't really know, you know. And that's another part of cinephilia, is to admit when you don't really know. That's, you know, true. You can always go back and watch the movie again. Yeah. It only takes the length that it took to watch it the first time. And
you'd be surprised how many times like that actually really helps.
Yeah, like you had to watch that
The Prestige many times. I just couldn't wrap my head around it.
I was going to say the Nickelback documentary.
Oh yeah, I on the Criterion Channel watched Capote, part of their Philip Seymour Hoffman collection.
It's pronounced Capote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Capote.
Capote. Yeah. It's pronounced Capax.
It's a pretty, as far as biopics go, it's pretty well made.
It's pronounced biopic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Biopic. As far as biopics go.
That.
It's well made. It's good. It's totally elevated by PSH being Capote. He really gives it his all. But I also, you know, he got a lot of praise for it. He won his Academy Award. I just wanted to shout out Clifton Collins Jr. as like one of the killers as well. I thought he was excellent, and obviously his performance got overshadowed by Philip Seymour Hoffman's, but he was very, very good. And I was watching and I was like, good for you, Clifton Collins Jr. Yeah.
Yeah. I Clifton Collins Jr. is a great that guy actor.
Yeah, totally.
And there's a lot of great movies he's been in. I also kind of feel like he doesn't get a lot of recognition necessarily. And yeah, he is. I remember him being really good in that movie.
Yeah.
I would like to watch that again, not because I am super interested in it as a movie, but as a Philip Seymour Hoffman performance, for
Yeah.
sure. And also, of course, we'll be doing it on the franchise as we do Infamous,
Yeah.
the kind of Dollarama version
With, Toby
Jones and whoever else.
God bless Toby Jones.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. I'll okay. I'm doing multiples at a time.
Yeah, go
'Cause
for it.
you got some more, right?
I only have 5, 6 or 7 more.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna be fine. Another classic that I really wanted to see. Similarly on the Criterion Channel, all these movies were on Netflix a while back, and I added them to my list, but I just kind of forgot about it.
The American Pies.
yeah, all the American Pies. No, of course I would only watch those for this show. Oh, I don't remember how to pronounce his name, but there's a great Egyptian director, Youssef, I think Chahine, or I'm not sure how to say it. I'd heard about his movies. My family and I, when my brother was working in Bahrain, we went to Egypt together, and it was incredible. And there's a book on Egyptian cinema that I bought at the Library of Alexandria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It's still up.
Yeah, it's still up. Yeah, they rebuilt it. Yeah,
Nice.
for us. So and I read about this movie in that book, and it's called Cairo Station, from 1958. Just in the interest of time, I just think you should just see that. You should see all those movies on Netflix, and I'm going to try to watch at least a few more of them. I haven't seen. I mean, that's the only one I've seen, but really great kind of psychodrama that takes place all in like a Cairo train station. I guess that mixes like psychodrama, murder, kind of lust plot with a lot of like sort of like socialist filmmaking, right?
Okay.
Anyway, and then my vacation officially begun, and I started to kick that off with some great movies at the Review. The Heartbreak Kid, and Seven Samurai.
Cool.
Seven Samurai. I don't think I had seen. I'd only seen it once, probably in like grade 8 or grade 9, maybe on the old like Criterion DVD. This is the 4K restoration. Seeing it in a theater was incredible, and it was like almost sold out too. Like people were down, and seeing it with an audience, like I think this is just kind of typical of all films you see with an audience, like especially older films, that films that have comedy but are not comedies seem funnier, right? Because people like to laugh in the crowd, right? You're going to watch Seven Samurai at home, you're not going to be laughing out loud like a maniac. You'll politely chuckle. But in the audience, like, it's really funny. I mean, Toshiro Mifune in the movie is funny. Like, he's a funny character. And people are eating it up. And just like, I mean, if there's ever been a movie where we could say our new slogan, what can you say, it's a classic, it would be Seven Samurai.
That's true.
But I guess I just forgot like how fun it is. Like, and you can see the DNA of so many action epic movies in that, so, like Getting the Gang Together movies or whatever, right?
MacGruber.
It's all there. MacGruber, yeah, especially the MacGruber films. And then Heartbreak Kid is one of my favorite comedy movies.
Ben Stiller.
It's so funny. I actually did watch that version, and I thought it made me laugh at least one time. I don't remember what it was, but there was one laugh that was like properly like a belly laugh. Overall, though, really misses the point of the original movie, which I think is like on the par with Mike Nichols' Graduate or better. Just to compare them as, two movies from Nichols and May, right, around the same time. And seeing that with an audience was incredible too. And also, it was a new 2K scan of a 16 millimeter print, so it was very, the only other time I've seen it is like on YouTube or something, and it sucked, right? So this looked quite a bit better.
Cool.
Yeah.
I saw Pulse. I saw another Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie. I thought it was excellent as well. Don't want to say too much about it, but if you're into horror, check it out, because there's some effective moments that are deceptively simple,
Pulse is one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
People walking slowly can be really scary. Weird walking.
If you know,
can be
you know.
real. Yeah, if you know, it's truly a case of that. I don't want to spoil it for
we're going to
anything.
talk about Kei Kurosawa coming up a little later as well.
And
great movie.
Just a great little visual metaphor take on kind of like our modern isolated existence, which is a nice kind of like topic as well.
Yeah, like it's funny that some of the best movies about the internet in the modern like digital age and human condition were made like around the turn of the millennium.
Yeah.
In particular, Pulse, which I think I've only seen it twice, and I want to see it again. It really is, along with Cure, but Pulse specifically really is one of the saddest horror movies for me. Like,
sure.
it makes me depressed. Like, the idea of just kind of becoming so depressed and isolated that you just disappear and become a ghost, I find very moving and very sad. You know, like, oh God, when her friend just backs up against the wall and just boosh turns into the ash, you know, or whatever. Anyway,
it's good stuff.
It's also terrifying.
Yeah, I hesitate to talk
really
about it
scary.
just because it is effective. And if you've never seen it, you are in for a treat.
Yeah, you got to go see it. If you've never seen it, what you should do is you should watch Cure, and then you should watch Pulse.
And then watch the American remake of Pulse, which I'm sure is also excellent.
I did watch that just out of curiosity. And
excellent.
You know what? It's bad, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
And some of this, they clearly watched the original movie.
Yeah.
And liked it.
That's a good start.
Yeah. It's more than you could say about some stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention on that after the Seventh Samurai Day, you know, this is a purely just like it was late and I was horny and I watched Two Moon Junction, the Zalman King movie.
Right, Zalman King.
King.
Mr. Red Shoe Diaries himself.
Yeah, this is his first movie. I really think it's really good. It's like ridiculous, right? Yeah. And it's horned up. Sherilyn Fenn, pre Twin Peaks, very Twin Peaks adjacent vibe.
Audrey Horne.
Yeah. It's when you I wish they made, number one, I wish they made erotic movies.
Oh God.
Still today. Number two, when they do, I wish they didn't look like shit, because this is a beautiful looking movie.
I bet.
Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was really good. I was kind of expecting it to be shit, right? But maybe that's why. But I don't know. Like,
I remember watching Wild Orchid way back in the day on like Showcase, and that not being very good.
It's probably not.
Well, the problem is Mickey Rourke not very sexy.
Well, he was.
I don't think so.
No?
Never did it for me.
All right. Well, this Sherilyn Fenn is sexy, and I don't remember the name of the guy, but she, this like, she's like a sorority girl. She's getting married, to some jackass, right? And then they go to the carnival, and there's this jacked up carny guy but he's hot, and he never wears a shirt. He's just like seemingly does not own any shirts.
Yeah.
And anyway, they fuck a lot, and it's great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, but then I had another day before my family vacation, and I had chores to do and laundry to fold, and it was total like, I'm just gonna sit and watch a bunch of movies and for a change, and here's what I did. Okay, Bronco Billy, Clint Eastwood movie.
Okay.
One of his earlier films that he directed.
Yep.
One of his best.
Cool.
Really cool. Really liked it. He's great. I don't know, people, this sounds pretentious, but Hawksian, Hawksian. I'm not going to get into it anymore. Hawksian, though.
Like Howard Hawks.
Like Howard Hawks.
Well,
yeah.
Interesting you bring that up.
Oh, great. On. Oh, nice. I rewatched The Terminal. Steven Spielberg's The Terminal. I had a desire. Hawksian. You know what? Honestly, yes. Honestly, Hawksian, but in a bad way. It's bad. It's not good.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I remember liking that.
I like Steven Spielberg a lot. Yeah, and I know. I thought I think The Terminal is like a grating movie.
Interesting.
First off, it stars Borat. And he goes, "Krakoja, my country no more." Krakoja. Terrible. And it came out before the Borat movie, but after well after the creation of the Borat character. So I don't know, sus. I rewatched True Romance.
I don't like True Romance that much.
You know what? Me neither, really.
Yeah. I can say that because I own a copy.
I own a copy of it too, and I watched a 4K version of it. I like Tony Scott a lot, and I think there's a lot of great Tony Scott stuff. But the Tarantino script, I think, is really bad. I think it's super annoying.
Unlike Clueless, it's kind of meandering in a lame way. It kind of meanders to like Quentin's I don't know, worst impulses, like
That's what I was saying.
set pieces, like one to the other of just like gross Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, I think it's all the worst things about Quentin Tarantino.
Kinda,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I don't know. Maybe the film bros are going to crucify us.
Maybe.
You know what? Come at us.
The
Go ahead.
dialogue's
Do
not
whatever
that
you
good
want.
either.
It's fucking annoying.
Yeah,
It's annoying.
everyone thinks they sound so cool, but in this case, they don't. In Reservoir
They
Dogs,
don't.
they did.
I wonder though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but
I don't know. I think
feel
that
like
one's
they
pretty
did.
rough around the edges.
Okay, Pulp Fiction then.
Okay, and quickly, Southern Comfort, the Walter Hill movie. It's great. All of his movies are great. Go see Southern Comfort.
Okay.
Mikey, Killer Kid movie. Trash. Loved it. Very good. Good trash. Looker, Michael Crichton movie. Talk about movies like Pulse, like about the computer age, you know. This is from like 81 or whatever. And it's like very ahead of its time in terms of like what computers and like AI technology and things like that will do. You know, I would say it's mostly like, it's pretty junky, but there's a lot of really funny stuff in it. Sometimes you gotta hand it to Michael Crichton, like it's prescient, right? You know, not in the way that Pulse is in like a genuine way, but this is maybe in a more superficial way. Also, there like production design, there's lots of like computers and bloops and buttons that go beep beep beep, and I like that sort of thing, you know.
Cool.
And then Extro. Extro is a very strange British, like violent, bad E.T. ripoff. Like what if E.T.
interesting.
like yeah, it's so crazy. It is kind of like a notoriously like incomprehensible like crazy movie. And again, sober but late at night, I was able to tap in to the ketamine stream and ride that river down all the way, baby, all the way to the ocean. And oh my God, if you have any access or predilection to dissociative drugs, Extro is the probably outside of any Lucio Fulci movie, it is the ultimate expression of what I mean by ketamine cinema. It is you. There are times, and I was watching this movie. You know, I was dicking around a little bit, but I was paying enough attention to be like from one scene to the next. You're like, wait, what? Where are we? What's going on? Who is that? You know what I mean? Like, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I watched The First Omen, and I get what people are saying. You know, it's surprisingly better than you would think.
Yeah.
But I also didn't think it was that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
Some of the effects, you know, I was kind of surprised that they went as graphic and as nasty as they did.
It's violent.
But at the end of the day, I still didn't think it was anything that special. Just grateful that in 2024 we received The First Omen and Immaculate to get our sexy, scared nun fix.
Yeah, true. I agree with you. I think it's good, but not great. You know? Yeah. Okay, we're waiting for my brother's flight to get in. Uh-oh, there's a delay. What's Ben gonna do? Watch 2 movies, baby. That's right. Listen, I'm being honest here. I'm telling you I watch too many movies. You know this already, right? I'm not trying to be cool. I'm working on a 4-quadrant cinephile kind of graph. I'll explain this some other time.
Yeah.
But more or less, you know, what there's one axis is like taste, good or bad. You know what I mean? And the other one is disgusting slob or cool and chic. Do you know what I mean? And like, you know, a lot of the people at the movie presents La Belle Noiseuse screening tonight are the good taste, cool and chic. And I like to think I have good taste, but I'm a disgusting slob. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And then it's just very quickly, the people who are cool and maybe cool and chic or in roughly in that quadrant, but have bad taste are like people who like go to TIFF premieres of like the galas and the bullshit movies.
That's
going
to come out a week later.
Yeah, exactly. Like people who spend $60 to see some piece of shit movie and they're like, oh yeah, that was really great, or whatever. And then of course, the people who are disgusting slobs who have bad taste are like the majority of the film guy kind of, you know, the Marvel movie guys.
The true romance guys.
The true, well,
say
you know, well, you know, I don't know. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of good taste, 2 all-timer canonical classics of Japanese cinema that I had not seen before. Akira Kurosawa's High and Low and Kenji Mizoguchi's Sancho the Bailiff. So High and Low I've been meaning to see for a long time. Also, we're going to be doing another podcast.
Spike Lee remake coming up.
when Denzel and Spike Lee make the movie, which I'm sure is going to be great. High and Low is so awesome. It's similar to Seven Samurai. I was kind of feeling the Kurosawa vibe, and he's a filmmaker that I have so many of his movies I need to see. I've seen some of them, but not that many. And I always feel like, he's just not someone I'm ever going to throw a movie on. Do you know what I mean? They just feel like stodgy or whatever. I don't know, for some reason.
Sure.
But they're not at all. I haven't seen... So a lot of his movies are like period pieces, which Jidai Geki, I think they're called. I'm not pronouncing that properly, but period dramas, right? And High and Low is not. It's a contemporary, like 60s set.
It's like an urban drama.
Urban
right?
drama,
Yeah.
Like thriller, and it's fantastic.
Cool.
It's long, but the whole like beginning part, this like kidnapping drama is like set in an apartment. It's like you will not believe how many ways he can arrange these like 6 or 7 bodies in one space again and again and again and again. Stunning compositions, right? But also very claustrophobic and so on. And then the kind of next part of the movie is this big like very very particular highly detailed police procedural that's like, and I love those, right? And it's just so satisfying. It's so cool. It's a great movie, totally radically different Toshiro Mifune performance than Seven Samurai. I was kind of like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Because I know him mostly from that and from Rashomon, where he's just like freaking the fuck out all the time, and this is like very like kept playing close to the chest a little bit. Restrained, yeah. And amazing ending. And Sancho the Bailiff, this is, if I was hesitant to watch a Kurosawa movie, like Mizoguchi is a filmmaker I don't really know very well, and I really feel, I'm like, okay, well, these movies feel like work. It feels like difficult to get into. Like, when am I going to sit it down to watch this? And so this was so refreshing. I think I'd really only seen Ugetsu, which I saw at the screening room back in Kingston. Like, and I for sure did not understand it. Like, I was, in college. I think I probably liked it, but I don't even really remember it. And I'm very eager to go back and watch that again, because Sancho the Bailiff is like, is so beautiful and so crushing and bleak. And it's funny, you watch it on Criterion or whatever, and you look at you go to the Criterion channel and you look at the Sancho the Bailiff like extras or whatever, and it's like Ari Aster on Sancho the Bailiff. It's like one of his favorite movies, and I don't really like Ari Aster, right? But I do understand why he likes this movie, because it is unrelentingly punishing, in the way that he wants to be.
Yeah.
And the way that I find his movies are kind of punishing, but like not with lacking some sort of like substance or like transcendence. And this movie has transcendence. This is a movie that will lift you out of your seat. It will make you sob. It's a difficult story to get through, just because it is like unrelentingly painful, but it's so worth it. It's such a beautiful film. And I went up to, I went to meet my brother and, sister-in-law and a beautiful baby. And I was like, one of the first conversations we had, I was like, gotta tell you about Sancho the Bailiff. and I was like, a little Murray, he's just like, a year and 1 month old or whatever. And we're trying to think like, what's a good first movie for him to watch? And honestly, I think Sancho the Bailiff is probably the best, and there's a Sancho the Bailiff plush toy that Toys R Us sells. And there's like a baby's storybook Sancho the Bailiff. And we could get him into it, right? It's a great first movie for kids, I think, to get into cinephilia, because it teaches you that life is cruel. There's a song that is often repeated, that life is torture. And I think this is a good lesson to instill in the young, right off the bat, right? Anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
I watched a movie that I know impacted you a lot. Left me feeling a bit lacking. Was Trouble Every Day by Claire Denis.
No way.
Yeah.
I understand, though.
I think I could sum up my problem with the movie in 2 words. Vincent Gallo.
He's perfect for it.
I've heard that said, and I just don't
he
really
is a
see
vampire.
it. I guess,
He is a vampire.
He's a problem for sure.
He's a problem. Vincent Gallo is a whole lot of.
His performance is so weird.
Trouble every day is Vincent Gallo's motto. Vincent Gallo, he wakes up in the morning and he looks in the mirror and he says,
"I'm going to be trouble today.
Trouble every day, baby, every day."
Yeah, there's a lot I admire about the movie, and there are scenes towards the end that are like,
oh, dude,
super difficult, squirmy to watch. And I really like the film Raw, the cannibal coming of age movie, and
See,
I really like
I don't
Bones
like
and
Raw
all.
that much.
I like Raw a bunch, and you see traces of its
Bones and all,
DNA
right,
in
for sure.
Trouble Every Day.
Yeah.
And again, there are scenes towards the end that were really impactful. I love just kind of like the vague connections between these characters. And again, I think it's a strong visual kind of metaphor representations of just feelings of wanting to wander, having wandering tastes.
That soundtrack too, right?
Yeah, totally.
Tinderstick's so good. There's trouble every day.
But yeah, VG just it makes for an interesting movie. Have you
seen Buffalo 66?
I actually haven't. No. I've seen The Brown Bunny a long time ago.
Okay, so I haven't seen The Brown Bunny, and I really should. Buffalo 66 is what will make you kind of love Vincent Gallo,
Okay.
the performer, not the man.
Sure.
The artist,
Sure.
not the man.
Okay.
to be clear.
I'll get around to it.
Yeah. And the franchisees at some point will become successful enough that we will start a Patreon, and the Patreon will provide us funds. We will not be withdrawing or living off of it or having it as some sort of stipend or whatever. The Patreon, and this is a solemn promise. We don't even have one yet. No. But I'm telling you, this is a solemn promise. If and when we make a Patreon, the fundraising goal, the only reason for having it in the first place, is going to be to raise funds to buy Vincent Gallo's sperm, which you can buy on his website for $1 million.
I wrote it in my Letterboxd review, but I went on a couple dates with a woman years ago who told me that she had an email correspondence with Vincent Gallo.
Red flag.
I think, I wrote that it was troubling behavior after watching the movie, but in reality, it was always troubling behavior.
Yeah.
But I think if you emailed Vincent Gallo, I think he would reply to you.
Me? I'm not a beautiful woman.
Catfish him. Catfish Vincent Gallo.
Yeah, I don't know if he would want to vampirize me. Okay, so two kind of thrillers, if you will. One bad and one fun. I watched Humane.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that?
It's the Cronenberg child, but the other Cronenberg child.
It's the Cronenberg child, but the other Cronenberg child, Caitlin Cronenberg.
The one who shot Drake on the CN Tower.
Yes, which is a very funny claim to fame. I remember when it was like, okay, and this picture is taken by Caitlin Cronenberg, and it's like, what does that mean? Like, it's just a picture of the CN Tower. Drake's not there.
Yeah.
They put him in afterwards.
Yeah,
You know
or else
I mean?
he would have been like 20 feet tall.
Yeah, so what is it? It's just there's a million pictures of the CN Tower. Yeah. I don't know. I sound like an anti-art right now. You know? What am I saying? Humane. Okay. No shade to the Cronenberg children or the man himself. Really bad. And I think and I'm not just saying this to be diplomatic, the problem is the script. And the script is not written by any Cronenbergs.
Oh.
It's written by the producer of the movie. I don't know who he is. High concept movie. I don't know. Hey, this is Ben. I'm just about to fart here in this clip, but you can't hear it on the microphone, so I've added in a hilarious fart sound effect for you so you understand what's going on. Like because of climate change, excuse me. Excuse me. The Earth has to. I should have put the microphone down there. Oh. Sorry, Alex. The Earth has to cull 20% of its population or whatever, right? Anyway, stupid. Who cares? Oh, and people sign up for it. I don't know, and it's dumb, and it's just okay. Here's the thing: it's just really bad. It's just really bad. It's cheap. It's Canadian (parentheses derogatory). Jay Baruchel is in it, and he's so bad in it, and it bothers me because he's really good in Blackberry, right? Recently, and that was this, where you're like, okay, this is a great role for him, and really plays to his strengths, and then This is like this is the exact opposite. You know, everyone's bad at it though. It's not his fault. You know.
Okay.
Anyway, not good. And then M. Night Shyamalan's Trap.
Yeah.
My brother and I went out to the Collingwood Galaxy Theater after the baby had been put down to bed.
Oh.
And we watched Trap, and it's fun. I don't think it's the best of his recent bunch, but I've really been enjoying like from old onwards. You know, the kind of recent Shyamalan films. Old, I still think is the best of those of his more recent films, but Trap I think is like a lot of fun. Filmed in Toronto. And Hamilton. Josh Hartnett's performance in it is like the reason to see it.
Okay.
I think he's really, really good in it. And just like fun, juicy, like silly, really silly movie.
Okay.
I see people not liking it, and I get it. Like, you know, especially people who are like can't get over certain plot contrivances in movies. I get it. But you're wrong. It's just fun.
Okay. I saw His Girl Friday from 1940. Howard Hawks. Very Hawksian.
Now that's a Hawksian movie.
Great. What can you say? It's a classic, but it actually is.
It is. They talk really fast, like this.
So fast talking, so charming, so madcap, so screwball.
Yeah.
Ridiculous
We have kind
plot.
of a Hildy and what's the other guy's name?
Darren's.
Yeah, we have kind of, we have kind of a. I know Hildy is one of them. Darren's, did you say?
Darren's.
Like
Terrence and Daryl.
Darren's, yeah.
I'm telling you that's his name.
I'm really sorry. This is a bad idea. This episode's too long. I'm sorry, Alex. I know it's late. You have to work tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay. It's actually very funny, and it's a lot of fun. And don't be put off if you don't watch like older films. It's very digestible.
It's hilarious. Yeah, you should totally watch it. Yeah,
like, please.
His Girl Friday again is what can you say? It's a classic, but it really is. Movies like that I think are totally accessible to people who don't watch a lot of old movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and kind of like a sardonic take on the institution of marriage. You know, you've got this guy fighting so hard to kind of win his ex-wife back just to put her back in a overworked, loveless marriage. It's kind of cynical. It's fun.
It is. And you know, it's funny. Like people talk about one of the barriers I hear of people talking about for older movies, other than like, oh, it's in black and white, or oh, it's this or that or whatever, is like pacing, right?
Yeah. No.
Well, okay. Well, fucking watch a screwball movie then.
Yeah.
Yeah. You piece of shit. You dumb piece of shit. Speaking of, very similar to that, Love Me Tonight from 1932, directed by one of the old Hollywood directors who has the best name, I would say, Ruben Mamoulian.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mamoulian diving.
Mamoulian
reflex.
Yeah. Ruben parentheses sandwich and parentheses Mamoulian. Parentheses diving reflex. That's fucking stupid. Yeah, anyway, stars Maurice Chevalier, 1932, so it's like pretty early sound cinema.
Yeah.
But and a lot of those movies have kind of rough audio. Like the one that kind of immediately comes to mind is like Little Caesar, the gangster movie. And I remember watching it and being like, there's a lot of silence. There's a lot of just like bits where they're just like there's like no background noise, whatever. This is a musical, and I don't know. I have not seen enough movies from the early 30s to confidently say this, but it's like feels like one of the first great American movie musicals.
Cool.
It's hilarious. It's pre-code, and it's so many double entendres, and it's naughty, and it takes place in France. And Maurice Chevalier, who's in a lot of silent films, like has a heavy French accent, but it's all in English, and it's very funny, and he's so charming. And similarly, I think people who don't watch a lot of old movies could watch that and really get a lot out of it. Then I'll also say, I'm going to say these three French movies here. Chantal Akerman's Toute une nuit, or One Whole, or like A Whole Night, or whatever you want to say, or All Night. This is from 1982. This is such a cool movie. I want to get more into Chantal Akerman. I've obviously seen Jean Dielman, and I want to like you maybe even more is Rendezvous to Anna. And this is I haven't seen his. I don't think I've seen anything else. Unfortunately, this one is from the early '80s, and it's like I don't know how many characters, like 30, 40 characters, all over just one night, and very little dialogue, and is it a character study? Is it a setting study? No, it is about the night itself, and that sounds stupid, but it is just such a beautiful movie, like to look at and to hear. And you actually legally, physically cannot watch this movie before 10 p.m. The file won't play. Like the disc will it'll shoot out of the player and cut your head off. Nice. You actually can't do it. It is a movie to be watched late at night with a cigarette and a French lover, if available. I don't think you really have to say too much more about it than that, right? What is the movie? It's just people walking around at night. It's people falling in love, falling out of love, hugging, kissing, fighting, fucking, whatever. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Sounds cool.
I watched a Bresson movie, one of the ones I hadn't seen, so I got really into Bresson God, it's almost like 10 years ago, and I just need to rewatch all these movies. This is one I never ended up getting to, Mouchette, which is definitely one of his most punishing, upsetting movies about this poor French girl who just gets owned, time and again. It's sort of similar to Balthazar, except instead of a donkey, it's a girl who just has a very difficult life.
There's a girl who has a difficult life in Balthazar as well.
Yes, it's true. It's true. But this time there's no donkey to laugh at. There's no ass to yeah. What am I saying?
Well, Mouchette means fly, right? So
little fly. Yeah, that's what she is. Bresson for me is maybe the best filmmaker. So it's hard to really judge any of his movies objectively. I just think they're all just kind of the height of what cinema can do. The purest form of cinema. And
mine's Quentin Tarantino.
Mouchette is no exception. Yeah, I think Quentin Tarantino really could take a few lessons from Bresson. That's right.
More like vice versa.
I've said it. And then I had never seen a film, speaking of great French filmmakers, I'd never seen a film from Claude Chabrol. So I watched the movie from 1970, The Butcher, or Le Boucher. Alex, I think you would really like this.
Okay, cool.
So we're doing, in that last episode you talked about how I'm good at recommending movies.
Yeah. I
think all these movies are great. I think you should watch all these movies. But, I think Le Boucher, I think that would really get under your skin.
Okay.
Because, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even say anything. But it's a thriller, sort of.
Okay.
There are murders happening in the background.
I do like sort of thrillers.
But what it is also about is the headmistress of a school who kind of has this relationship with the local butcher, and meanwhile people are getting killed. And does the butcher have anything to do with it? I don't know. I guess you'll have to watch and find out. The ending of the movie, the last 15-20 minutes, really, really perfect. Like the point of the thriller is not who did it, who's responsible, what's going on. It's not some twisty narrative you have to figure out. You pretty much know what's going on in the movie, and you're just watching it play out, and it's still unexpected, and it will still kind of take your breath away.
Interesting.
And it feels like one of the better kind of Hitchcock style sort of thrillers from a period when he was still making films, which is really cool. And I think it's awesome.
I will check it out.
I think you would really like it.
I will check it out. I watched Kneecap, the movie about the Irish rap trio, starring the Irish rap trio.
They're a real band.
They're a real hip-hop trio, playing fictionalized versions of themselves, and it's kind of their origin story, and it kind of plays like Trainspotting Light crossed with A Hard Day's Night. There's a lot of being Irish doing drugs kind of thing. There's a lot of corny musical elements, lyrics coming up on the screen, because they part of their thing is they sing in Gaelic, and that was kind of a big push for recognizing like Irish speaking people's rights in Northern Ireland. I've been to Belfast, and it is a very weird place. Like, there is still a Berlin Wall style wall kind of dividing the like loyalist side and then the non-loyalist side. So it is a strange place, and I think what they're doing is great. I can see how some people maybe find them kind of like douchey. There are definitely elements that are corny, but it did just kind of like win me over. And by the end of it, I was just kind of constantly going, good for them, and I meant it too, like not in a condescending way. I was like, good for these boys, and then and in the middle of it all, you have like Michael Fassbender doing another like Bobby Sands type thing again. And he's good at it, like he's done it before. He's doing it here, and he's good. Yeah, it has like really great reviews online. I'm not that crazy about it, but it made me laugh a few times. So I think it was a good time in theaters, and it was hard to come out being cynical about it, even though it does have some corny musical elements.
Did you quote unquote stand up and cheer?
No,
because it's not really one of those.
Maybe for some people, not for me.
Well, I'm partly Irish.
Ah.
Did you know that?
No. Maybe it would speak to you.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I only recently kind of discovered I'm partly Irish.
It is about Irish people who love ketamine. Yeah.
I know, it's super popular over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this awful Irish rap duo named Versatile. Okay. And I was like, oh, is this a movie about them? No. They have a song called Ketamine, which I came across while high on ketamine, and the video, and it, like, I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I watched it, and then I made people watch it, like, while we were all sober, and it was like, oh no, this is bad. Yeah. Super bad. But I learned a lot of words, There's this
you
refrain
should learn
that's
Gaelic.
Like, everybody's out to get me, I'm Pero off me head. Like Pero, like paranoid?
Right.
I don't know.
In my review on Letterboxd, I just quoted that, that viral music video those Irish school kids did that was like, think you can stop what we do? I doubt it. They made like a little like club rap song, and it actually got popular.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
I just quoted that in my review.
Well,
it's essentially what the movie is.
From Ireland to the former USSR. I watched Wings. Not that Wings. No Paul McCartney here. This is 1966, directed by Larissa Shepitko, who you may have heard of. Well, do you know that you've seen Come and See, right?
Oh yeah.
So L.M. Klimov, who directed Come and See, was actually married to Larissa Shepitko, and she died in a car accident while scouting one of her movies, which is terrible. Like, and she had so many other would have made so many other great movies, I'm sure. And part of why Come and See is so all-consumingly depressing and bleak is I think in part her death, right? And
sure.
So this is the first movie she made, I think, or maybe second after the student movie, and it's really, really good. And so the movie she made after this is called The Ascent, which is kind of like a classic like Russian war movie that I would love to watch sometime and will. This one's about this like former like hero of the Soviet Union who was this woman who was like a fighter pilot like in World War II and has all this glory and is very well respected and so on, and is now like a headmistress at a school. But she yearns for the skies. And throughout you kind of learn more about her life and this and that. Just such a beautiful, beautiful ending to this movie as well. That's really what it's all about for me. Where are we going and how are we going to get there? Whatever. When you get there, is it beautiful? Is it transcendent? Like, yes, this movie is very much that. And great central performance too. I'm really looking forward to watching The Ascent, which I hear is even better. I also watched Orlando, the Sally Potter film with Tilda Swinton. Based on the Virginia Woolf novel of Orlando, right? And this one I brought up specifically to watch with my parents, and we were able to watch one at one point, without disturbing the baby, which was great. Yeah, I think my mom really dug it too, because she likes these sort of period costume dramas and so on. But it's a really good kind of twist on that. Feels very influenced by Derek Jarman, who's someone I need to see a lot more work from. But also, there's this direct address kind of sly looks to the camera that are like very, very, very much Fleabag, to the point where we were all thinking it, But I think this is one of the best. This is one of the best kind of British costume dramas ever.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't know if you know the story of Orlando necessarily, but Tilda Swinton is perfectly cast for this movie. And I think that people often think of her as like an androgynous actor, right? And Orlando is like this member of the Queen Elizabeth court or whatever, and she is a man, right? And is played by Tilda Swinton as a man, and is beloved by the Queen. And before the Queen dies, she says to him, like, "I'll give you this land and this title, but as long as you never grow old and you always stay beautiful and young and this and that." And so Orlando just lives for like 300, 400, 500 years. And at some point throughout the film, like, turns into a woman. And when she turns into a woman, even though she has all this power, it's immediately gone, right? But it's just really, really well done, and really visually stunning movie. And everybody should go see it. Tilda Swinton, one of Tilda Swinton's best performances for sure.
Right on.
And I also watched When Evil Lurks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't like it.
Yeah.
Thought it was really bad, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was
very
mid.
disappointing. Very disappointing. It's like starts off, it's violent, it's gross. You're wow, okay, demons, they're out to get us.
Doesn't really go anywhere.
No, bad.
And
Just
bad
like-
internal logic surrounding demonic possession.
Yeah. One thing I keep seeing people bring up is like they're talking about all the rules. Like, you have to follow the rules.
The movie itself doesn't seem that interested in the rules.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
So I don't know why people are so interested in it. Like it's a
No.
big thing. Like, this is fresh. It's not really.
You can't kill a demon that way.
Yeah, like
Who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
who
oh my
truly
God.
cares?
Yeah, really, really bad movie, I thought.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I rounding out my last couple movies, I watched Hoop Dreams. I'd never seen it before.
Amazing.
It's a classic documentary, and it has kind of the aesthetic of a like 90s educational film they would show in schools, kind of.
Yeah.
Which is like a product of the time, but now watching it in 2024, it feels like an aesthetic choice, like it was made to kind of like
by being shot on film and everything.
I know, yeah. It all just like really works, and it is just such a unique, for the time probably, documentary, just like focusing on these two kids in sort of real time as they try to navigate the crazy world of American high school sports and the potential of leveraging that to college careers and then ideally the NBA. Just a great look at many of the failings of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is, like, I mean, obviously a classic documentary, but like one of the best.
The system is broken movies.
Yeah, exactly. And you should definitely follow it up with that, the Safdie brothers Lenny Cook movie.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's very, very similar.
Cool, I'll check
look
it out.
at how like chews people up and spits them out.
Yeah.
And Hoop Dreams is such a great title for that movie, because that's really all it is. There's no guarantee.
That being said, though, really excited for the return of the NFL. A few weeks, baby.
You're gonna
Football.
do your football. Well, good for you. I only watch movies. Two more Japanese movies, more contemporary. Cure, I watched with my mom.
Nice.
I really wanted to show it to her. I think Pulse would have gone over better, and I'm going to definitely try to watch that with her and my brother sometime, because I think they both really like it. Cure, it's one of my favorite movies ever. I love watching it. I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. I think it's great. I will continue watching it. I'm really excited to see Kiyoshi Kurosawa's other movies that are coming out this year, and continue kind of going through his filmography, because he's He's a filmmaker that I find very exciting. And similarly, Takashi Kitano, who,
yes.
watching
Beat Takashi.
Yeah, Beat Takashi. In first year, they showed us Hanabi, Fireworks. And
Great movie.
Yeah, that movie really had an impact on me. I guess I just hadn't seen anything like that before. I've seen some of his other films, but really not that many. I don't know how I've only seen Hanabi one or two other times, right? I don't know why I didn't really kind of get into him, but I finally went back and watched Sonatine, which is the movie he made before Hanabi. And this is like the last day of vacation. It's the perfect last day of vacation movie because I was watching it for the first bit and I'm like, this doesn't seem like a particularly subversive Yakuza movie. And then they're running away from their trouble and they're hanging out on the beach. And then the bulk of the movie is them hanging out on the beach, broing out, having a great time. And it's so fun and funny. The Joe Hisaishi music is so great. And yeah, it's a very like melancholy movie about, I mean, in many ways about like work and like how shitty it is to have a job, whether it's answering phones at a hotel or being in the Yakuza, and how great wouldn't it be great if we could all be on the beach vacation forever? Well, God. You can't. Ride the High Country, early Sam Peckinpah Western. Hey. You were getting me excited about that. I am going to watch Alfredo Garcia sometime soon, like rewatch it. But this is one of his earlier ones, and it's obviously not as, it's from the 60s, not as violent as, it's like pre-Wild Bunch, right? But, I was watching it on TCM at my parents' place, and my mom's like, this movie's kind of rapey. It's kind of yucky. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a Sam Peckinpah movie. Just because it's from 1966 doesn't mean there's an extended part where it's like extremely uncomfortable. And boy, he sure got it. Later on, my brother came down to the city. He was flying out to Saskatoon. So we went to the Yonge and Dundas Cineplex with Jordan and watched Twilight of the Warriors Walled In, which is a Hong Kong action movie that it's a new one, right? It's modern, and it has all of the bad things that modern Hong Kong action movies or action movies in general have, which is to say they cannot hold a candle to the original stuff where people actually get the shit beaten out of them. And you know what? It's a good thing that times have changed. Yeah. However, I liked this movie quite a bit. I thought it was really fun. I think my brother liked it too. But it's just not the same thing. Sure. Still pretty good.
Similar vibe. My last movie that I want to talk about, and then I'm all caught up, is A Bug's Life.
Seven Samurai.
Yeah. I always remembered it being a low B tier Pixar movie, and I think that definitely still holds up. Yeah. But it was funny rewatching it because there's the two pillbug acrobats, and I was like, those are just the minions, like the minions are just these two pillbug acrobats.
Wait, why did you watch A Bug's Life? Like what was the decision making process?
Why not?
Okay, no reason. I'm just curious.
Rated on Letterboxd, I was like, this always felt kind of like mid B tier, and it still is. And then I just want to shout out my friend Max. He's very funny on Letterboxd, and he commented on it. He wrote, "Man, this movie is awful. Fuck bugs and fuck their lives."
Yeah. Usually when I see a bug, I kill it.
Yes. Some people hate Bug's Life, and I'm just kind of mid on
it. There's this like awful Twitter image that some awful account made. It's like a comic or whatever, and someone like a stick figure thing says like, "Ooh, a bug," and I better squash it. And then there's this awful image of this like very crudely drawn like kind of cockroachy looking bug that is jerking off a penis and coming on you and blowing its brains out at the same time. And every time I kill a cockroach, I think about that now. It's like fuck you, I'll fucking do it myself. Yeah. I'm sorry. This is now going to be 3 times as long as I said it would. I'm really, really sorry.
That's okay. Let's just get through it.
Okay.
But
okay.
That's the real Bug's Life.
Yeah. A Bug's Death. Niagara with Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
Honestly, really cool.
Cool.
It's like a daytime noir, Yeah, and the one thing it gets right about Niagara Falls, it's a truly evil place. Yeah. I promised I would do it, and I did it for friend of the show, Will. I watched Ridley Scott's first movie, The Duelists.
Oh, okay.
You, I think, would get a kick out of this movie.
Oh, really?
Not only is it one of his better movies, or one of his, I'd say it's one of his best movies. The whole plot of The Duelists is like two New York guys in Napoleonic France.
Okay.
Keith Carradine and Harvey Keitel.
Wow.
Harvey Keitel is like obsessed with dueling. He duels and stabs some guy who's like an uncle, who's like uncle is the mayor of the town or whatever. Keith Carradine has the unfortunate job of being the messenger who has to go tell him, like, listen, you're under house arrest. You have to stop dueling. What does Harvey Keitel do with this news? He says, I challenge you to a duel. The rest of the movie takes place over all of these Napoleonic campaigns, wars and awful strife and this and that, years, many years, where they just keep meeting up and dueling and continuing their duel.
That's fun.
And it's so fucking funny. Every time Keith Carradine is like in a bar, like a new he's like, someone walks in and he looks up and it's like, oh fuck, it's Harvey Keitel. And Harvey Keitel's like, I demand satisfaction. It is really genuinely very funny, and it's gorgeous.
Okay.
It's around the same time as Barry Lyndon, and it feels very like Barry Lyndon-y. Obviously very different sort of filmmakers and aesthetic choices and so on. And a lot of that is honestly just costuming and so on and so forth. But he's obviously influenced by that and the idea of trying to frame this movie by like looking at paintings from the time. And there's some stunning shots in this movie. Yeah. And it's funny, and it's and there's some amazing like swordplay and dueling. Yeah. And then because Jenna Rollins died, rest in peace, one of my favorite actors of all time. You have to see all the Cassavetes movies. I didn't have any time to rewatch those. There's still two I haven't seen, Faces and Love Streams, two of their collaborations that I'll definitely be catching up with soon. But I didn't have, they're all like really long, and I didn't have time before work to watch them. So I watched a Woody Allen movie for the first time in quite some time, Another Woman, which is really the plot is what if there was another woman, and it's great. Like, what if there was another woman, right? You ever think about that?
All the time.
Jenna Rollins is like rents a studio space to like write her novel or whatever, and she hears another woman's therapy session, and it's like women would rather eavesdrop on another woman's therapy session than go to therapy. Like, and it's a great movie.
Co-starring Ian Holm.
Yes, co-starring Ian Holm, who we will be talking about extensively in the next episode. And then the Neon Bible, the Terrence Davies movies.
About the Arcade Fire.
Yes, Arcade Fire. I don't believe that album is related to either the book or the movie. I think it's just something that Win Butler, rest in peace, thought was cool. This is probably the Davies film I've liked the least, but it's still really beautiful. I mean, just all of his movies are kind of just stunning. Like, no filmmaker captures like memory on film the way that he does, and this film is no exception. Even though the subject matter is a little seems a little strange for him to adapt.
Starring a young Drake Bell.
Yeah, it stars a young Drake Bell, which is very weird. Yeah. Anyway, and Jenna Rollins is great in both of those movies.
Talk about ice merchants.
I'm not going to. I don't care about ice merchants. Whatever. That was just some YouTube short. I don't give a shit. I thought it was. I think all these Oscar nominated shorts suck. Almost all of them suck.
Well, we rounded up this week's movies out to Montana.
Yeah.
We brought them out to pasture.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
We'll see you on the next regular episode. Thank you for listening to our ramblings, mostly mine. Sorry. Bye.